All right, guys. Good evening, everybody. This is Cody. He's been a long time viewer, Dolphin fan. Obviously, you can see with his hat and his stuff in the background. He's going to join us tonight. We're going to talk Dolphins, talk about trying to see where this team's at. And I want to get everybody's input. You know, nobody knows everything, but I want to really just take a look at the team, go over a bunch of different things to see where we're at. There's so many pieces left to play. You got picks, you got free agency. Hey, what's going on, Anthony? How you doing, brother? Good evening. So nobody's got all the answers. If you got an opinion, just try to give them information on that, to why you believe that. And respect everybody's opinion. Who knows what's what? I mean, everything's really just, it's a crapshoot. This is a very difficult game. But the Dolphins, to me, let's go. That's right. Roasted nuts, man. Just not mine. To me, last year, 23 was the peak talent season. I had said that for a couple of years now, and I think everyone's kind of on board. So I think 23 was the most critical for the team success. We can still have success, but this year, I think, is the peak for fandom. I think the fans have their hearts invested so much, because if this team takes a step back, I think it's going to be a very unhappy time. I do think we can have success. It's not going to be easy, but I do think 24 is the make or break for the fandom to kind of like, all right, we're screwed, or yeah, look, we're on the right track. So a second. I keep on hearing, because of the dream concerns and Brock Bowers might fall out of the top 10, maybe even 15, how much we would have to trade to get up to 16. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. I don't know how much you'd have to trade. I have to go look into it. But when you look at the numbers, if Greer does not fill out this roster, it's going to be naked and brutalized come 2024. And he understands that. You're looking at the signings. You're watching Wilkins. I mean, maybe. I'll look into it for you, brother. Hey, Richard, if only, but I don't think so. I think he's going to be here for a while. I think he's going to be here for years.
He's a golden child there.
Anyway, Cody, let's get you in here. What do you think about this stuff? What do you think trade up for Brock Byers? What do you think about Greer?
Well, I'm kind of a Greer guy a little bit here. I guess my bar's a little low, and I've been a Dolphins fan my whole life, so we haven't had a lot of success. So I'd say that Greer is a good wheeler and dealer, and he'll pull off some stunts and some trades. I mean, hell, he got Tyreek Hill in here. The day I saw that on my phone, I just thought, that's not real. That can't be real. But the deficiencies at the offensive line, yeah, we're letting a guy go. Hopefully not, but it looks like Hunt's out the door. That was a great draft pick. Besides Tunzel, give me another good offensive line draft pick that we've had. I can't think of one off the top of my head. You got one?
Not since Pouncey.
So I don't put it past him to move up the draft. I don't put it past him to move down. Personally, with how many holes we have, if we're at 21, I don't want to mortgage more of the future right now to move up to get a guy. I do believe in getting the guy you want, but if we could move back, please, Penix Jr., all the Tua haters, sorry, but please be there at 21 so we can trade away and trade back and get some more picks. That's kind of what I would like to see out of this draft. But I think after signing Jonnu Smith, I don't believe we're looking for a tight end right now, personally. But I think we like what we got at tight end.
Yeah, I'm happy in a sense, because the tight end position, if you notice, I said on my podcast that it was really telling. Last year, if you checked my draft stuff, I was banging the walls for a tight end. This year, they had the tight ends for the first time ever match up against the cornerbacks, and they wanted to see the tight ends versus the cornerbacks, because the league cycle is telling us something very clearly. I think I've been, kind of on that a little bit. And the league cycle is saying you come out in light boxes, kind of what the Ravens did, and you mitigate the run game, and you keep your speed on the field, and you get the pressure with as little blitzing as you can, timely blitzing. And that's the way to stop this pass-happy offense. But the tight end creates a problem. Tight end, obviously, we know the deal. Big and fast, linebacker, cornerback. And then if they can block, then that really puts pressure on that nickel or that front. And that's the thing that he can't do is use the physicality aspect to really – we have to tax these nickels and these light box looks because you're not going to win without that. You're just not. Anthony was going. I think that these tackles are in the top 10 might fall out because there's teams above us desperate to get the quarterback. I do too. But I could be wrong. This is just a guess. I think Greer's trading out. I think he needs 3 players in his draft. I think he's going to trade out at 21st because there's going to be a lot of people that want that pick. I would prefer him to stay there. I mean, my build would be totally different than what we've done. This is not what I want, but I think he's going to try to trade out and get that 3rd pick within the 3 rounds because he needs a nose tackle. He needs an edge player. I don't think he's re-signing Van Ginkel. It's too much money, and he needs 1 offensive lineman. And I think that's what
at least one.
Oh, no, it would be more for me. Trust me, I would. But I'm just saying, from what I hear him say, my personal belief is he needs an edge because you're not going to get shoved back to the tail end of the season. Phillips is going to be dinged up. What's the other kid that we got? I can't remember his name. He's got a serious injury. You got literally nobody. What?
Are you talking about D-tackle?
No, Cameron Good. So yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get a nose tackle because that's what the Ravens do. It's a way, I'll get into it all the time, but I think that's a nose tackle, edge, and offensive lineman. I would love it. I would love it. I would love to go 2 for offensive linemen the first 2 rounds, but Greer's history says no. 1, I think. Hey, Brandon, what's going on?
If we could walk away with, I'm a big Michael Pierce fan. If we could get a huge nose like Michael Pierce, like an old Sam Adams, throw it back. I want a guy that's 6'2", but 350, short, stout, can't move him. That's
they got the kid Sweat.
That's what people keep saying. Is Sweat.
Yeah, I don't know who's a draft nick here. I think he goes around in the 3rd round. If can anyone?
I'm hearing. I listen to a few guys I respect. Brett Coleman's one of them. I listen to Reason and Neil, and they're talking 55. At 55, there's DTs. It's kind of a deeper draft. They're saying for DTs.
But he's a nose tackle. How's his pass rush?
I don't know.
I just want him
immovable. I don't care about pass rush.
No, I prefer it too. Yeah. He is a seam threat. He runs a 4.62. He's not like super fast. He's 235 or 240, and he runs a 4.62.
He's about 250. Yeah.
250? I thought it was like 235, 240. Maybe I'm
248.
Wrong.
Last I checked. I could be wrong.
Wow, that's big. Yeah. So he's 6'2". That's good then. So yeah, he's definitely a seam threat. And what I like about him is he's big. So if you notice, we were running those pocket posts, and Waddle and Hill, they were starting to time it up and hit him on it. And that's why they were getting worn down. Also with those jet sweeps. And so he's going to take a lot of the physical beatings off these guys too. So I think he is. I don't think he's great. I think he's good. But when you got Waddle and Hill and you got Tua who could throw into the spot with the quick release before the safety or linebacker can get there, I think he's going to do well, man. I really do.
I don't think
it's going to be.
I think he's a yak guy. Jonnu, he's good with the ball in his hands. He's got, I don't know how many, maybe 14, 15 career rushes for 7.5 yards a carry. Like, he's an athlete, and he's very efficient. Very efficient. If you look at his numbers in Tennessee, it's 68, 67% catch rate. Just very efficient with his target. I think he's an underrated player, but when you have a man crush on a player coming out and
I'm hoping you're right.
I've been watching him for a long time, and I just think he's a special player. But
tight end's so critical. Tight end's so critical. If he is, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to really help out a lot.
The blocking is what I think he's an inline blocker. I don't know about. I just don't think he's not a power guy. Obviously, he's not a power guy, but I think they have Julian Hill. I think they really like him as a blocker. I like him, Curtis. He looks like he's got the goods as a blocker.
Oh, he's physical, but his blocking is terrible.
I think his technique. I think he's got what it. We have one of the best tight end coaches on our team, and I just think we can get him where we need to be. He's
I
slow.
hope.
Takes him about 10 yards to get going full speed, so he's not that kind of a dynamic player, but
I
I
haven't
don't know. I
watched
like
him that
Chandler.
much. You got me excited to watch him. I got to get to know this guy better.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Thank
Check
you,
him out.
Cody, man. Brandon, what's going on, brother? Good to hear from you, man. How you doing? How you doing? I've been away from this for a while, man. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in years.
Where you been?
Let's see, roasted nuts. Give me a DE all day. We need one, but you know, you got to remember it's such a hard situation because you got so much invested in Phillips and so much invested in Chubb. You know, but you're not really going to get the talent you need to get that bridge to when they get back unless you invest high. I really think they're going to spend the second round on an edge player. I mean, we need a DE, but I don't think they're going to go because you remember it's a 3. We're going to run 3-4-4-3. You know, but you need that guy that's a tweener guy to go in and out. And so I think they're really going to go for the nose tackle. I think Peely is who they're aiming at.
He looked good in preseason last year.
Yeah, he was a guy I liked. Yeah,
you know, he looked raw.
Yeah, he's just not strong enough yet.
Too
but
small.
It takes time. You know, it takes time for those guys, you know?
Yeah.
Richard, Greer is only in it for the bag. maybe. I don't know. We were just talking about, Cody and I were just talking about that. Anthony, I think the new philosophy in the NFL, because the league passes building outside and inside of inside out on defense. The league pass is building outside in. Yeah, but it's not working. It's a failed experiment. Greer tried to build outside in.
Is he saying secondary and then work your way in, linebacker next? Is that
I think he's saying inside out on defense and outside in on offense. I think, you know, that if you get an awesome receiver, it's great. But when your offensive line totally sucks like ours does, it negates it. You cannot put enough receiving threats out there to take away from a terrible. I mean, you can have an average offensive line, but a terrible, because if you can't run, teams know they knew. Like you even heard Judon. I think people were misunderstanding what he's saying. McDaniel puts out looks and he moves guys all around, but in the end, all they're doing is pocket post, deeps, screen passes, or run outside. That's all they're doing, with an occasional run inside that usually gets stopped and an out. And so if you know the sectors that they're going to attack, and you know the pocket post is the primary weapon and the outside run, you can set your nickel up. You rush for, you play off. And when you play off, it makes harder for linemen to get to that second level. And so you can cut off the edge runs, and then you could drop guys into the pocket post and deliver the hit, even if you don't get the deflection and interception. And so I think that's the biggest problem. If you don't have the offensive line, then you can't run the football inside and you don't create 4-point tension. You got to have 4-point tension. Even look at, you look at Mahomes, you look at San Fran, all these guys, they run inside, they can run outside, they can pass inside, they can pass outside, and they can go deep. And that's the key, you know?
Yeah. I just don't know when we're going to stop with the speed and just say, we're a speed team. We're going to beat you to the outside. Well, they're going to get there before you because they're waiting for you because they know you're doing it.
Yeah.
When will we just line up? We say we want Derrick Henry as our guy.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I
don't even think that's going to answer any of the questions we have in the run game.
Nah.
It doesn't matter how many power backs you have if they're running into a wall here.
Well, because remember, a power back, he's a power back for a reason. He's big. He doesn't have the ability to shift his weight and make sharp cuts and cut through holes, or lack thereof. So when your offensive line breaks down, that's why the little guy, the nimble guy, or the speed guy who can get to the edge is what works when you have a bad offensive line. That's why our big backs keep failing here, because there's no yards before contact. They got to get that. They got to hit. They can have maybe one or two options. Okay, this is clogged, and I'm going to go here. But if there's none and they got to pick and stop and go, they're not going anywhere. And that's Henry. He's not fast enough to get to the edge, and he's too big to pick his way through bad blocks. And that's
I don't see Eichenberg, if he put him at center, paving a way for a guy like Derrick Henry. We'd have to do something else at center if we're going to try to be a power team. And at guard, we need two guards and a center if we're going to be a power team. But
I'm going to stay positive. Yeah, Juno's fouled his quarterback. It's his best quarterback he's had. So let's, I believe that. I believe that. I think he's going to have a good year, and I think he is going to help out Tua a ton. I I still think the key is the offensive line and the run game to get to those, the big wins. But I definitely think he's a good addition without a doubt.
Curtis, I got a question for you. When we brought Mike in, the first thing on your mind had to be, all right, we have a run game. We brought in a genius run game coordinator. All right, we got a run game. And then you see flashes and you have A-Chain and these guys are ripping off big runs and you think, oh, this is what it's going to be like. But it wasn't. And when we really needed the run, it wasn't there, and especially up the middle. So when does Mike go back to – it looks like was Shanahan the guy? Because Mike's the run game coordinator, but the run game's still looking really good in San Francisco. I'm still very jealous of it. And it hasn't translated to a power run here. So when does that happen?
When you get the horses. NFL is a game of horses, and then the really smart guys dial up that extra few percents here and there to beat the other guy. But if you don't got the horses, you're not winning consistently. You got Trent Williams, probably he's a Hall of Famer, maybe 6, 7, 5 best tackle in the league. And they had Bruno, or whatever his name is, a right guard, and they've had good offensive linemen. They had Mac a couple of years ago. Yep. It's the offensive line. It makes the NFL world go round. You can't just gin up stuff. You can gin up calls and get little plays, and you could do that but ultimately it's about physicality, and that's what I think Greer lacks. He doesn't seem – I don't get how he doesn't understand. Well, yeah, it's speed and space now, but ultimately it comes down to a phone booth to win a game and to win consistently and to beat the good teams. And if you can't win in the phone booth, at least sometimes, then you're predictable. And if you're predictable, you're going to lose. And we don't have the horses. Like even my man Tehran's great, but he's not a drive blocker. We have the only one is Hunt. The only drive blocker we've had. Connor was pretty good. Connor was more of a peel and go, second level blocker. He was tenacious, and I liked what he did. And he was perfect with Hunt when you marry their two skill sets. But we have no drive blockers. The only one is maybe Jones, but he's got flaws in his game that are going to get exposed if he stays here and has to be a starter. But he's a good IZ drive blocking guy. Hunt is a guy you had to peg as a keystone and keep him, but we didn't. And until you get those guys, you're not finessing your way to anything substantial. Just not. Hey, Lucas, my man. Oh, yeah. Skylar was here. I didn't say, I want to say thanks. Last time I was here, Skylar and Lucas were on. I want to say thank you guys for being on last time, putting up with me. But Lucas, what's going on, brother? Hey, it's been too long. I had to take a break. My brain was melting down, man. It really was. This thing's very, very like I feel like my structural systems break apart every time I do it. It just, I love it, but I hate it sort of because it's, if you're going against the tide, they keep hitting you, and then you got to look at yourself in the camera, which I hate. So, Lucas, I'm glad you're back. You got to come back on with Cody, man. Maybe you guys could do it. I can sit in the background.
What do you think about Kendall? I think Kendall Lamb is a necessity going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that you want to have on your roster. He can pass block, he can't run block, and he's old. And
how old is he? I didn't think he was old.
32, 33 now.
Oh, dang.
He was at least 31 last year. And he got injured. That's the thing, too, is that, you have to really football is a violent, brutal warrior sport. And if you don't understand the violence as the platform for everything, and then when you make your evaluations based off the violence and the brutality and the physicality, you're really going to find yourself off schedule with anything you do. And I don't understand it with Greer. It really is bothersome because I was a big Greer supporter, like big. And when he took over and he got all those picks, man, I was hot to trot. I love Flores. I love Greer. I love the whole direction, building slow. But then he just started sacrificing picks, making some ridiculous picks. Then it was all the stuff going on. But he's from the Parcell lineage, who's all about the big guy and physicality. Now, you can't go too far to that, but he is totally divorced himself from understanding what the game's about. And until you get that back, man, it's about pain. It's about hurt. It's about hurting other people. It's about surviving through that. It's about domination. It's about nastiness. It's about, taking, and we don't have those kind of guys. Tehran kind of is. He's an unbelievable player. Hunt is. Connor but then that's really it. Jackson is not. You paying $11 million for that guy, and people are going to be very upset going forward. I'm telling you, you need those guys, at least 2 or 3 of them, and then some decent guys and some backup guys. I think Jones is too. I think Jones is very physical. I like Jones. He's just got some flaws, but you need those guys. You got to punch people in the face. So
I think the NFL is in a little bit of a interesting spot in terms of we're taking away a lot of the violence. We're getting rid of the kickoff. I guess there's some buzz about changing the kickoff, but hits over the middle, late hits, defenseless receivers, quarterback. We're taking away some of the violence. So maybe some of these teams are trying to build, saying, "Oh, you can't touch us like you used to." But when it comes to the playoffs, as soon as we hit the playoffs, it's a different season. It's a different season. Everybody ratchets it up to hitting you with everything they got. And
there's money on the line for the victories.
It separates men from the boys. And I hate to say it, man, I love the Dolphins. I hate to say it, but we didn't have a counter punch. No. We got punched, and we kind of danced around a little bit after that, and we threw a few, but
defensively, I thought we played well against the Chiefs. We could have won that game.
We played well enough. We played well enough against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. That special teams, that kickoff
O-line failed us. O-line
punt return. Us. Yeah, the punt return against Buffalo changed the entire scope of that game.
Yeah.
But really, our offense had the ball with chances to win, but we just got too cute sometimes. I don't want to be cute anymore, Curtis. I don't want to be cute. Don't do weave in one motion. Go to the line at 3rd and 2, look to the linebacker and say, we're running up the middle. We're going to go right off up the A-gap, get ready for it, and then do it. And then do it again right after that. That's what the Ravens did with Gus Edwards, and there's just so many teams that they're running, but you can't stop them because you're beat up.
Again, seriously, Cody, it comes down to the horses.
Let's get some.
Okay, so McDaniel's going to get it's a lot of rap, and I agree, but his hands are tied behind his back. I like Teron, Connor, and Hunt. Those guys are really good, man. When those are together, if you had average right guard and left guard and right tackle, you'd have been fine as long as they stayed healthy. Yeah. But you could say I'm lining up. You could say that and you could run it, but it ain't going nowhere. Yeah. I played a little junior college, and you'd have the second versus the one, and you're getting smashed. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much you call the right call, they're the starters. They're wrecking you. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't really matter. If the talent's not there, you're not going to get it consistently enough. And I don't think that McDaniel has the talent, which it doesn't make sense. You get a run coordinator who's never called before. He's been in the booth. You give him an offensive line, let him run the football. But they brought him in and said, you've never done any of this before. We got to win now, and we're not giving you an offensive line. Oh, okay, all disaster. Your quarterback's got heavy concussions. Here we go. You two. We're going to go. I mean, nobody in a sane mind would start the season with Eichenberg as your primary reserve at center. I mean, that was literally insane. That was, anybody would be fired for that in any kind of business. That would be a fireable offense. It was insane. Anthony, so no, I'm saying the defense specifically with the league's being pass happy is built back end to D line in a way, because if you bring obviously Cody and I were talking before we started, the talent cycles have moved to defense. The most talented players are on defense now because they get paid the most. People were trying to find any way to stop this crazy pass happy league, but it's the marriage between the three. Like a middle linebacker that can cover, blitz, and stop the run. Those guys are people would give their mother and 10 children just to have one. Like a Warner, you know what I mean? So I agree with what you're saying, but if you got a guy who can generate pressure on the interior, like Long at KC, there's a whole thing in there. But yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but there's a tying together, because if your guys are really good in the secondary and you can't stop the run with your 4 and you can't get the pressure with your 4, then you're starting to lose that arms race. So I think it's yes, but not fully. Not fully, if it makes sense.
You think that was Greer's vision in terms of just rushing 4. Maybe I know that's kind of Fangio. Fangio says we're going to line up 4, and we'll dial some up, but we're gonna get pressure with these 4 because we got the right guys. Do you think that might have been the vision when we picked up Chubb, to say we're going to rush these 4 and we're going to make sure because we got guys on the back end and they can hold up if we can just get there with our first 4.
Oh, I agree, but my biggest problem with Greer is that, okay, he's almost like somebody, like, have you ever been drunk and you go out to eat and you're so hungry, you order the steak and then you're eating and you're drinking, you're like, dog, order another steak. Give me that chicken over there. You got 10 meals in front of you and you can't finish it all and you wasted a lot of money. Next day we wake up, you got a hangover, you got your stomach hurts and you wasted all this money on food you didn't eat. You spent 2 first-round picks on Waddle, and then you go spend the whole draft on Hill. Okay, then you spend your top 20 pick on Phillips, but then you go spend max money on Chubb, and then all these picks on him, and now you got all these edges, and now you're naked in the middle, and you haven't covered all your stuff. It's like he's obsessed with certain positions, but it's a team game.
Maybe it brings in that. I hate to say it, but maybe that's what he's going for.
I don't know. You need
the excitement, the viewership.
Van Ginkel, to me, if you go back and check, I'm not after Charlie. I said we should re-sign him. He's really good. I thought he had a better year than Phillips in Phillips' rookie year. People said I was a hater and all this other stuff. The guy could play. You could have had him play the Sam side and had Phillips on the Will's side, and you would have had what you needed, and you would have got it at a cheap price, and then you could have used those picks of money to keep Wilkins a hunt here and use those picks to keep filling in the spots.
He's coming back. Gink's coming back.
I hope.
That's our guy.
I don't know, though. I think this is just my personal opinion. I think in the background, people are a little upset, because he was gone and then he came back because of Fangio. So if I'm Van Ginkel and I know I could play, am I going to go back to Miami? So yeah, I'm going to get a couple of months of me starting and then I'm going to be a backup. Or am I going to go someplace else? Am I going to start and then work for my next contract? I don't know. To me, the best business decision would be go someplace where I can start, because I'm a starter and I'm working for my next contract. So I don't know. I think he's going to get a decent amount, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's a big play waiting to happen. I love that guy.
I love Van Ginkel, dude. You can go check. I got film from 2020, and I was a big fan of this guy. I was so surprised that Greer didn't sign. Anyway, Angel?
Him and Sealer. I just knew for years. Him and Sealer, most underrated players on our team.
Sealer's great. Yeah,
I can't see Ginko. Gink's not going.
I would have preferred to had Sealer, Wilkins, and Phillips, and no Chubb and Van Ginkel. Give me Wilkins and Van Ginkel instead of Chubb, and you could almost have that. Yeah, you could almost have that. I mean, if you had signed Wilkins a year ago, you could have got him for 22 or 23, a year and a half ago. And
that's a lot back then, right? Doesn't that sound like a lot? When it's really,
if you don't know the cycles, if you're behind, certain guys are ahead or knowing where the cycles are going, and some guys are behind. I mean, even me, my little channel, I'm an idiot, I'm a nobody. I said the market on the IOLs are going through the roof, and this was 2 years ago. How do you not know that?
He seems like a smart businessman too. Greer does not seem like a dumb man that's not looking into the future.
I don't know. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Angel, my man, what's going on? Watch out. This guy's a college guy, man. He's like a professor or something.
I've seen this picture before.
Yeah, Angel's great, man. He's a real smart guy. He brings some class into the joint. How confident are you that Greer can fix both sides of the line in one season and through the draft, which is not good? Almost nada. I mean, I'm going to evaluate it and believe that he can, as it goes. But, if you say, hey, Curtis, let's bet, your life on it. No way. Because Eichenberg's starting. Anybody who tells you Eichenberg's not starting is delusional, because they can cut him right now, pay him $1 million and save 3.5 or something like that.
Is he making $4 million deal?
Yeah, 4.1, 4.2.
Do you know what the escalators were? Were they just playing time, or did he hit every position?
No, they can cut him right now and save $3.5 million or $3 million. But then
why did he jump so high? What escalators did he hit?
He was a second round pick.
So it's a natural progression for where he was drafted.
Yeah. I don't know how they schedule it out, but if you go
Yeah.
check, he's making 4 points something. Next year he's dirt, or maybe he's a free agent next year. I can't remember. Or maybe it's a dirt cheap. I can't remember. I think it's dirt cheap next year. This is his third year. But he's starting. If you got him at 4 point something million in a tight cap, he's your center. And then Jackson's your tackle. You're praying that Tehran comes back, because if people are hoping Tehran retires, if you do, run for the fences, man. You're going to have no offensive line.
You have to draft one at 21.
Yeah, but even if you draft an offensive lineman, these guys take time to marinate. Look at Penny Sewell. He's like almost a generation. Like, this guy's going to be unbelievable. It took him like a year and a half to he was terrible year one. So you bring a rookie in here, and you got to bring two rookies. Let's say Tehran leaves. You're not going to be pretty to start off with, especially
we don't have the money to buy some. We don't have the money to bring in a Mitch Morse or.
I think he could take care of the D side. Oakland. I think I could bring the nose tackle in, Peely, and like a cheap vet with Sealer, and then when Phillips and Chubb come along, I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't know, Angel. I really don't. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. Oh, I got a lot of questions to answer. Yeah, I'm talking. Cody, what do you want to say? What do you got to talk about? Because I'm rambling.
No, I like these questions. I think it kind of sparks something. I want to see a physical team. And to think of our makeup, it doesn't match. So did Mike learn enough, and is Mike in control of the franchise enough to say, I need these guys, I want to run this offense? Or does he really think we're gonna Mike Martz it, and we're gonna do the greatest show on turf here, and they're not gonna be? But they had Marshall Faulk, and if you look at the offensive line,
they had Pace, Orlando Pace.
They had some big dudes that would clear. They could run or pass. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna kill you with the pass. We're gonna kill you with whatever you're not good at tonight, because that's what we can do. And boy, Kurt Warner, I love Kurt Warner, man. That guy.
I do too. Yeah.
He's a 300-yard game waiting to happen. I love that guy.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think he's great, yeah.
Tua is a smaller guy. He's not a power arm. We know what – I believe in the guy. I believe in the extra intangibles that this young man has. Called me a dreamer, believer, whatever. But we're not building around him. We're saying your intangibles are so great, which he's not Mahomes, that you can carry us without a run game, that you can throw it 50 times against Los Angeles, and you can – that's not going to happen. He's a small
Dan Marino couldn't do it. Dan Marino
couldn't do it. Dan
Marino was like 4 levels above Tua.
Tua's play action, elite.
Oh, yeah.
Run the ball, and this guy's going to dice you up.
Yeah.
But don't start with, we're going to dice you up and then try other things.
No, that's been my eval for a long time. A run game and offensive line is more critical to his success than like big-time receivers.
It just is intuitive.
Yeah, he's good enough. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to wet the bed, or is he going to like ice the cake in the clutch moments? I don't know. But I know that there's no quarterback right now that is winning with this kind of offensive line and lack of run game. Hold on a second. Anthony, what's going on? I think Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel scheme is very finesse. It is. But if you remember, if you watched the Super Bowl, they were hitting it inside. And you watched the week before, they hit it inside. And McDaniel got off the physical, and then he got to the finesse, and that really cost him when he opened up the second half. He didn't run the football, but he has it in him to run inside zone. See, like when you see this pencil, outside zone is at an angle, so everything's at an angle. And if you've been wear pads, when you get hit in the side, it hurts, but it doesn't happen. Everything's moving, and it's hard to really get that unless you get the crack seal. You know, that hurts. And sometimes you get to the edge, you got to plug you. But it's a lot of shaving when you go to the outside unless you cut it back. When you run inside zone, it's like this. Everything is boom, boom. You're firing out the guys in front of you. Punch them in the face. You know, you're slamming into the linebacker straight forward. That's physical. That's hitting. And we run all this stuff, and it's great, but it's not the physical stuff. And Shanahan does have the IZ, and he runs good IZ, and McCaffrey is physical. He puts his body into you. And all it takes is the running back a couple of times hitting those linebackers. And you go into the third quarter, now linebackers not feeling it as much. And all it takes is that one little like hesitation, and then you get the break. And so you got it physical. You got to wear their souls down. You wear their bodies down. But it's got to be like this. It's got to be like this, man. I'm sacrificing, some tread on my life to hurt you. And then later on, you might make a business decision or whatever. And then that's the thing that pops us for the touchdown. But this OZ stuff, it doesn't really get it unless you got a nice cutback. And we can't because we don't have the guys inside.
Or you're playing the right team. Or you're playing the right team who just doesn't have the guys to get to the outside.
Well, if you notice,
looks like you're the best.
If you notice, the outside linebackers, the first few weeks, they would shoot inside and then they would get caught and washed out and it would open up this big hole. But if you go through the season, they were playing out and out farther and then they were just dumping to the outside because they knew we couldn't cut it back inside. And that's how, if you watch against the Ravens, they just shot in and blew up the blocker before he even got up because they watched the tape and they said, oh, hey, who was at Denver? I remember Denver, the linebacker was terrible. He just kept shooting inside and getting killed by Craycraft. And it's like they saw that. And then the guys on the outside said, hey, I just got to string this out because there's not going to be a backwash because there's going to be no blocking. So I don't know.
In Kansas City, they were asking us to run on them and they were asking us to throw to the outside. That last drive, it was the last two drives where Tua's got to start cooking. He's throwing to the outside, throwing some deeper outs. It was there. And the inside run was there, but we're trying to throw these layered throws and these Tua's just kind of giving us a little soft toss to the a wide receiver screen or a halfback out there. He's not driving the ball. But
if you notice like the last few plays of that game, people are like, we should have ran. You see, most of those two big runs, they were in dime on both those plays. Dime.
But they were in dime a lot of the game.
Yeah, and we couldn't still run. That's the point.
They had big nose. They had a big nose, and they had guys that stuffed the run. And we're
the linebackers are so good, man. The guy we could have had, we went with Tyndall over him. That's what you need. They know since the Titans game, in 21, teams understood our offensive line and how to handle us. And they've been playing it over and over the same way. It might have been before that, but that was the first time I noticed it. Van Ginkel, he better not go there. I love that guy. I couldn't take that.
Oh, don't say that.
I know. Amy. That's cruel, Amy. That's cruel. That's cruel. I've never been cruel. Well,
let him go to Houston or something, not Buffalo. We want to take
Derrick
Buffalo
Henry would have his worst. Derek, he would definitely have a bad season. He's not coming here, and it would be a waste of money. JPJ, I like that guy. I'm starting to really like that guy, but I think we're trading back. But I would definitely get that guy. But if we get him, that means Eichenberg has to play guard, and he would be liquefied. And then he's got to play center. So unless they put him at left guard, they're not moving Eichenberg out. They are sold 1,000% on him playing center.
What about right guard for Ike?
Either guard, he has no power.
Yeah,
he gets liquefied.
So center's his best spot.
Yeah, and that's
5 starts. The center.
Yeah, from a skill set standpoint, I still don't think he's gonna be successful until he handles power. But I want to do one thing, guys. I want to show you one thing quick. It's not it. So I want you to understand. Look at this. This is what we're paying this year: $31 million to Tyreek, 28 just about to Ramsey, 27 on Chubb. And then 21 to Tehran with like 23, which is going to be moved. This is your team. This is 50% of your cap. But everyone but Tua is a trade or a free agent. How do you not allocate this kind of money to your own guys? So this is your team. And then in order to free up money this year, you've got to move this money to guaranteed money next year. So Tyreek is going to be 31, almost 32. Ramsey, 31, almost 32. Chubb with his continued injury history. And then Tehran. If you get rid of Tehran next year, you're still paying like $6 million in dead money. So you're not going to reschedule him because he's broken down if he doesn't retire. But you're going to have to move money from Chubb, Ramsey, Hill, and Tua. Tua you want to. But then look at next year. Tyreek Hill, 20 cap number, 34 million. And then you're going to move more money from this year to next year. So that means you're going to have to keep Hill to like he's 33 because you got to bump it to 26. Ramsey, he's making 21. You're going to move from this year to next year. He's going to be up to 30. So you're going to have to move something next year. Bradley Chubb, he's making 20s, almost 27. You're going to have to move from this year. This is not a good process. And look, if you get rid of him, Tehran pre-June next year, that's 12 million dead. And you only make it 7. So you got these, this is your foundational team pieces. And, you know, Chubb's always injured. Tehran's always injured. Ramsey's getting older and Hill's getting older. It's just a crazy, crazy build. There's no way around it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at your, I'm going to get back to the things in a second, guys. I just want to show this quick because I put the work in. So, I might do it next week. But look, this is your roster. You got Jones, if he comes back, which he's restricted and he's cheap. Eichenberg and Cotton, and nobody behind him. You got Jackson. Jackson's going to not have Hunt with them, and you're going to see that production drop. Smith, I like. You got Durham, Smythe, Hill, and Tanner, but really no real blockers. Ingold, I like. He's a physical guy, although sometimes he slips in his run blocking. Got a good little backfield, but Mostert's getting older. Wilson, you're paying $3 million. You could have got rid of Wilson for $3 million. Eichenberg for $4 million. You would have had $7 million to go into Hunt. You get rid of those 2 guys and find anybody to replace them dirt cheap, and you'd have had Hunt for $11 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. But Brooks is a guy who's going to have to step up. He's going to be a big guy, but you're going to get the yards. Yeah. And then what about Tehran? Now, what if you take Tehran out of this picture? You're not getting that.
He hasn't committed, right?
No. And you look at it, Miami's not getting a lot of money if he retires. If he retires, Miami is getting boop. I mean, let me see what, hold on a second. Let me take a quick check. I think it's only a very small amount if he retires.
I felt like we paid him and it's paid and we're not getting out of it.
No, I don't know what the deal is right now. If it's cut pre-June, it's $24 million against the Bucks. Post-June, you're saving about 9 and losing 11. But I don't know what the retirement thing would be. But how do you replace that? Now, Hill and Waddle, unbelievable. You know, but you got to pay Waddle next year, big money. And then Izukama, he's got to pay out. You didn't draft Zach Tom. If you could have put Zach Tom here, this would have been a totally different picture. You could have had Hunt, Zach Tom. Easy's got to pay out. And then you go to defense. Defense is in a decent place.
A little better.
But, you know, Tyndall and Riley, they're going Tyndall. They expect Tyndall to start. Long, good. Peely, Sealer. I got all these blanks here because, you know, VGZ coming back. Phillips, Chubb, good. That's it. And they signed some guys like nobodies that haven't played maybe, but I ain't betting on it. Smith's got to be somebody. Kohu and Ramsey. There's a lot of holes.
I like the secondary, though. I really do. I think if we can bring Nick Needham back, I don't know what's going on with Brandon Jones and his contract. He's a free agent, isn't he?
Yeah, but he can't cover. He can't cover.
Yeah, he's a one-dimensional. Type guy. But
I like Ramsey. I like Ramsey playing in that. What's the kid? He's a
Kyle
safety.
Hamilton.
Yeah, playing the Kyle Hamilton role.
Yeah.
And then you put Kohu outside.
And Javon can do that too. Javon can play that role too. I think. Yeah, he can. And I think
I like Ramsey a little bit better.
Kohu got beat up. I think Kohu got put in spots where he's not. He's a good player. He's not an outside player. He's very physical. He's a great tackler. I think he's a good player. And with him and Needham, I think the secondary is actually in a better spot. If we can bring back Elliott, I thought that was a great contract and a great find. We might start poaching the Ravens. And there's a Geno Stone, looks like a good player.
Yeah, there's a lot of safeties. There's a lot of safeties. Yeah. Safety, I'm not really – there's so many out there you can shake a stick at. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not really worried about the secondary too much. The only thing that concerns me is if you go back is, okay, you got Smith. He's 183 pounds. Okay, so what do you do with that?
He's physical. He's a physical player. He's a ball hawk too.
183 pounds. If you can't really put him, if you put him in a box, he's got to come up and put his nose and stuff. And then if I'm an OC and I know he's the cornerback and I got a big wide receiver, I know he's not playing on me. He's going to always play off because if he plays on me, I'm going to disassociate him. I like him in like a safety role, but he's going to have to play that high safety where he's not getting like his physical, putting his nose into it. I don't know. It's going to be he's got to put some weight on. He's got talent. but he's got to put some weight on. But he's a little bit of a tweener. It's gonna be.
You put him and Kohu together as one player.
Yeah,
you got a stud player right there.
That's Kohu's problem is he gets lost in man in mid to late coverage. He doesn't have the speed. He's great. I don't know why they don't have him more zones where he just drops in the zone, hits.
Wasn't that the plan? Wasn't that what Vic played? Vic just played zone, didn't he?
But he couldn't. After a while, he started having to blitz more and more to cover the secondary because guys didn't know their assignments. And you didn't have the linebackers to play big zones. If you look at all his linebackers, those guys are coverage guys first. Okay. And so Long is good in short areas, and then Baker was okay. So there was a lot of masking of stuff. And so then he had to start blitzing more. And once you blitz, you go into man. And so I really don't blame Vic too much. I know people do, but
I don't blame him either. It's not Dolphin deal.
Anyway, you want to answer this one, brother?
Okay, I've said this multiple times. It's not conducive for a successful season from Mostert or Devon to run between the tackles because they're so small. We need a big physical back, maybe draft one. I think we have one on our team. I think we don't scheme it up to use a physical back. I don't think we have guys that can move bodies and create a lane. I think we have guys that can beat you to the outside because we run in that zone, and we have guys like Connor Williams or athletic Austin Jackson who can get to a spot and just get enough on you for the 4.2, 4.3 speed to get around. But when they know we need to get it and they're going to bring their guys, we don't have the bodies to move a line. We have no bullies.
Yeah, no drive blockers. There's no drive blockers. Hunt was the only one. It's why it was critical for him. Yes, we're very finesse.
And I hate to say it, and we're damn good at being finesse. But if that's what you are and that's all you are, you're done. And
finesse doesn't work in Buffalo when it's snowing. No. Ask Amy; she'll tell you. It doesn't work in New England and Jersey. Baltimore. And if the KC, wherever, finesse. Finesse has its place. Yeah. But you've got to be able to just go up to somebody and punch him in the nose once in a while. And if you can punch him in the nose once in a while, then the finesse will work. But if all you got is finesse and then you slap fighting when you got to, they're just going to it's a laugher, man. It's a laugher. And people.
I got something that's kind of I've been thinking a lot about is the motions. Love the motions. Tua is one of the best processors, and he can dice up a defense when he knows and anticipate where he thinks the DBs and the linebackers are going to end up and where the routes are going to develop. But he's getting to the line. He's got two motions. He's got no time. And they're saying, he can't call an audible. This guy can't read a defense. No, this dude can read a defense. He doesn't have the time to call an audible because he's got two motions to get through. Stop the window dressing. Stop the window dressings. Simplify the offense. I watched Baltimore, I watched Buffalo, and I watched Kansas City, and I thought, how many motions will I see during the playoffs? Here and there. It's a wide receiver in motion. That's about it. And they're pretty successful at what they do. So
they got Morgan Moses, they got Zila, they got Staley, and I forgot the center's name, Cushenberry. They can do it.
Cushenberry.
You know why we have to do all the motions? Because if we don't, they're just going to beat the hell out of us.
Yeah. Look right here because I'm going to punch you in the gut.
Yeah. It's all about, and then we catch them. But now teams like, okay.
I'm not looking here anymore. You're
running the screen. You're running wide. Your pocket posts, and you're going to go deep. That's all you're going to do. That's it. So you do all your stuff. We'll play off. And we're going to get to the 2.35, 2.45 second mark, and we'll have pressure on you and get you off schedule. And then it's 3rd and 8. And then it's all smoke and mirrors. Hey, somebody got a cat? You got a cat?
Who? Me?
I thought I heard a cat.
No.
I love cats. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I thought I heard a cat.
I like cats too, but no, I don't have a cat.
Okay. Hey, Curtis, I like this format. Let's use your knowledge to answer questions. Well, vice versa. If you guys say something good and change my mind, then I don't look like an idiot. So we should try this too. Anybody who wants to come on, seriously, I don't care if you got your own podcast, big, small. I don't care if you're just a regular person. You don't got a podcast. You want to come on. Come on. You are welcome. Anybody's welcome. I'm not too much of a jerk. I talk a lot, but come on, man. I'd love to have you. Angel, why don't you come on, man? Why don't you come on, Angel? Mr. Tough Guy. Come on.
Let's do it, Angel.
Can't win to look, we haven't won with them, so I'll give you that, but I think we can. I think we can. I don't know if we can win it all because you got to see what a guy does in that moment. You know, so many people, you watch them train. I used to be a fighter. You watch them train. They look really good. I had this running back. His name was, I used to remember his name. This guy had huge legs, fast. But I remember I was a walk-on as a nobody, right? And this guy was like the guy. And every time the linebacker would hit him, he would just crumble up like that, and they would laugh at him. He had all the talent in the world, but he just didn't have the heart. You know what I mean? So I think Tua's got the talent. We just got to see the heart. But you can't have an offensive line and running game of this caliber in this day and age and expect to have success. It's going to any quarterback. Look at Burrow. Burrow's better than Tua at handling navigation, but he had the 3 receiver routes, and they blocked actually better than our offensive line, and he got the hell beat out of them. You got to have an offensive line at least 15th, around 15th in the run protection around that. Create that run diversity, create the tension in the DC's mind and in the player's mind when you get to the line of scrimmage. If not, it's going to be very, very, very tough. Vickin, what's going on, man? I like that name. Hey, guys, what's going on, brother? Why what, man? Why?
What?
I don't know.
One thing, Curtis, that I kind of wanted to discuss, it's just small. Tua's physical mobility. The Tua that I watched in Alabama, the Tua that I watched, on a bad hip coming out, he's a mobile guy. He's not a blazer. He's not a super athlete. He's shifty. And if you watch what Purdy did, I'm telling you, I watch Purdy. I go, Tua can do that. But it's right here. And Tua took enough hits that he said, I'm going all in. I'm protecting my body. I'm going to play another. I'm going to live to play another down. Yeah. And I honestly think he's a warrior. I'm sorry. I think he's a warrior. I think he's a Samoan warrior. I think he comes from a heritage that believes in that. Mm-hmm. And I think Tua is going to spend this offseason escaping the pocket, working on escape drills, working on finding outlets, and working on, I'm going to see the defense. I'm not going to think only pass. I got 7 yards of grass. I'm going to run, then slide, buddy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see him a giant uptick. If he's who I think he is, I'm going to see a giant uptick in him scrambling a little bit here.
Well, the thing for him, if you watch, and I've been saying that back when I first started doing this, I did like a 3-hour evaluation of Tua. He has the ability to climb the pocket. He could do the jump. He can move in short area, and he could break out. But if you don't have the guys in the front to solidify that, that's what Mahomes had. He had terrible tackles, but he had star guys inside. And if you keep that pocket clean, and even if you have poor outsides, you migrate up the field. You climb the pocket, and then you can break out. And you can even break out to the left or the right. That seal opens up, the pops. But if you don't have the interior holding it, Tua doesn't have the speed to break. So that's why I think Hunt was a guy you had to bring back. He's not, I think somebody else said here, a guard's not saving. No, a guard isn't saving us. But if you had Hunt, and then you got JPP, you would have 2 ultra physical guys to build around, and it would set the tone and begin building out this team the right way. The problem is Tua sucks. Well, you see, the thing is, if you say he sucks.
Yeah, I got that picture right up here, John.
If you say
he's right there, buddy.
If you say he sucks, that's not like, you could say, hey, I don't like him because I don't think he can stay healthy. Hey, I don't like him because I think maybe he chokes a little bit. I don't like him because maybe he's not so tall and his arm isn't the biggest arm. These are fair evals. But to say he sucks, he doesn't suck because we had Fiedler. If we put Tua on that 2000 team, we would have gone to the playoffs. We would have won more playoff games. Fiedler was terrible. We had Dante Culpepper here. Obviously, he was injured, and he sucks, So I don't know if he's good enough. He wasn't the guy I wanted to draft. But when I look at his skill set, I could, and I'm not saying to be, like I know I can. You build him an offensive line. You let him use the quick release on play actions. You have one big receiver, one quick receiver, a good tight end. Everybody doesn't have to be great. Maybe one guy is a deep threat. You run the ball, you play the short points, and then you work in where he can use that quick release to throw in the pockets. You can see that. And so I don't know if he would choke in the big moment, but that's the kind of offense he needs. This thing is saying, hey, dude, you don't got the greatest arm. I believe it's better than people say it is. He's got a great Goff's. He's got a great
about Jared Goff's arm strength.
He's got a great release. He's not tall, whatever, but you're asking him to carry. Dan Marino couldn't carry. If Dan Marino, who's like 4 levels better than him, couldn't carry through a pass-happy team with no run game. I mean, yeah, we had big yards run to the side, to the outside, but you could see it's like big run, 50 yards, and the next play, stop, big run. It's Barry Sanders. That's not working. You know what I mean? So
I remember watching Marino just going, 3rd and 8 again, and he'd convert a lot of them. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I'd like to see the percentage of 3rd and 8s that dude faced in his career.
This guy, Troy Fatuana.
I hear a lot of Fatuana.
He's got good reviews, man. Yeah, that's the whole thing, man. We've wasted so many picks. We've wasted so many picks. We need to stock it. We need at least one offensive line. Yeah, he's a good player from what I'm seeing. I got to do my research. I'm waiting for free agency to pass, and then I'm going to dig into all this because it's like I would be studying tight ends right now, and with John is we're not getting a tight end, so I'm not wasting my effort on that. I love the lightning quick offense, but it's not working. No, it's not. It's not. It can't. We're not playing lightning quick offense because we want to. We have to because the pressure when your blitz pressure and your clean time to throw is equal, that says something very clear. There's no other team in the league that has that. Why? Because we can't hold up long enough. They blitz and they get right in. So yeah, need a new quarterback. I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see.
Who do you want, John? Who do you want, John? Who do you want, bud?
I'm with you on this one, John. I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one too.
Sounds like we're screwed, John.
All right, here, John. I got a question for you. Seriously. All right, so if you are a GM, or let's say you're a quarterback, and you just came off a career-ending injury that almost nobody's ever come back from.
Bo Jackson couldn't.
Yeah. So then you get brought to a team and you're expected to redshirt, and then you're thrust in he didn't get any extra practice leading up to that. There was something that went on there. Gailey wasn't even considered. They didn't even ask him, hey, should we put him in? They just said, he's in. And that was Greer coming in with Ross and saying he's starting. They told the media, and then Flores had to tell everybody he's starting because it was leaked to the media. Then you come in and Gailey's system is very complicated. He was saying that one time Fitz looked at the hand motion with the guy's hand in the ground, the D lineman, and he was twitching and he knew what it was. He knew it was a pass rush. So he called the play right off him. And that's how the system operates. And he was supposed to be marinated in that system with Fitz behind him for 2 or 3 years. So then he gets thrust in. And then your coordinator who you built your relationship with is said to be sabotaging you by idiots in the media. Then he leaves. Then you get the 3 OCs with the worst I call them the 45th offensive line in football. And then you get a snot beat out of you. And then you said the coach doesn't like you. The coach gets fired. And in the middle of that year, the owner and the GM is going to find another quarterback to replace you. And it doesn't work out. And then you hear you're no good. The coach doesn't want you to. Then you get a new guy in here. And then you don't have really the offensive line you need. And you get your concussions and you come back the next year and you're told you got to win. And again, the same thing happens where you don't have a competent offense. I mean, look at Mahomes. Last year, he was injured. He let Pacheco run him to the championship. This year, he didn't score more than like 28 points, I think, a game.
No, his defense won
it. And he had the best interior offensive line in football. And so, to me, I don't know if he's the guy to win a championship. But he is, the talent-wise, the best quarterback we've had since Marino. Again, I wanted Burrow. I wasn't big on Herbert because of all the talk about his leadership skills. I didn't want to draft Tua because of the hip. but I got to evaluate it fairly. This guy, it's very hard to find quarterbacks. We can go back into if you look at our offense, the biggest, ugliest, nasty, warded face part of it is the offensive line. And it's been that way for 10 years.
Yeah.
So to me, offensive line makes the world go round. I could be wrong with Tua, but I know I'm right on this offensive line.
Look at Tannehill. Tannehill goes have his best year.
Oh, yeah.
He leaves us. He goes to an offensive line with a run game. He has his best year. People go, oh, we really didn't use Tannehill right. We didn't. He wasn't the guy. We didn't use him right.
They wanted to be Dan Marino. Everybody.
He was a tough son of a gun, though, man. He took some beatings. I really respect how much he took a beating.
Oh, I know. I don't think he would have won a championship with us, but he would have done better. He would give us some credibility.
Oh, MR Bill,
so.
Mr. Bill. You really want to bring in Russ?
With a trade trash too and sign Russell Wilson. Wilson to me is he's something wrong with him mentally. He's like not here and he can't throw on schedule. That's why I didn't want Watson. Watson can't throw on schedule either. They got to run around. I don't like those quarterbacks.
Nope. And Watson thinks that's his strength because he can make plays after. But you don't realize Tua's strength is he doesn't have to make the plays after.
Mahomes can do both. That's why I like Mahomes. He could throw on schedule, although he's a little off. He's a little slow. I don't know if it's the receivers or whatever, but he could throw on and off schedule. O-line was no, man. I'm sorry, brother. I have to disagree with you. O-line was terrible.
John, I like you no matter what, buddy.
You know, Tehran was really good, but he came in injured. He was beat up. He was never 100%. Connor and Hunt were great. They worked so well together. Yep. Jackson is not good. He can't drive block. He gets blown up all the time. Eichenberg's no good. Wynn can't drive block. Remember, we were throwing the quickest in the league. I think it's quickest in the league since Brady, the year he retired. And I think we had double the yards per attempt. It was like he was like 4.8 and I was like 7 point something. We masked everything. It looked like it was going to be this or that. And I got a lot of grief by saying, look, you can see all these big run yards, but we can't run. And people are like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden we go against the good teams and we can't run. Now the offensive line wasn't good. It really wasn't. If you look at the time to throw, it was 2.1 seconds or 2.16 clean time to throw. The rest of the league was like 2.35. And if you look at all our pressure started coming, we couldn't hold up at that stage, and we couldn't run inside. We couldn't inside zone block. We couldn't run in the cold. We couldn't run in the red zone inside, that is, and we couldn't run on short, third and fourth and short. It was smoke and mirrors. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Well, I think, John, what you might not want to hear is the reason the O-line was looking good to you is because of the work Tua did pre-snap and the work Tua did getting the ball out quickly. I think there's a handful, maybe 20 plus quarterbacks who wouldn't be able to do what he did pre-snap, who wouldn't be able to get rid of the ball so quickly. And I hope you're not one of the guys that want Justin Fields, because that guy would do the exact opposite of what you want, reading the defense, getting the ball quickly. Tua made the line. The scheme made the line look better, and you can't execute that scheme without a guy like Tua. So
I would love that. Guys, I want to do something. I want to watch a game with everybody. I want to replay the whole game and watch it and break it down so we can all kind of go over stuff to see things clearly. Because what Miami does a lot is they sacrifice people, the PR department, the whole system. Everybody does it, but we have a really natural way of doing it. And so if we're told that Jackson deserved a new contract, he's playing all pro. Well, if he's playing all pro and then you had Hunt, you had Connor, and you had Tehran, well, then, Tua sucks because he should have done really good. But none of that's true. The offensive line is the most critical. If you've ever had to throw a football with a bad offensive line in front of you or run behind a bad offensive line, it's very, very clear. You don't need to have a top 5. You don't need Cleveland or something like that. But
15, top 15, top 20, you can make it work.
And so if you're under the assumption, that's why I got so vehement. People like, what do you hate Jackson? What are you, a hater? How can you say that? You got no credibility. Well, how did Jackson do against Philly? How did Jackson do against Buffalo? He's failed. You know what I mean? Because this wasn't a smoke and mirror offense. And if you realize that, then you realize, hey, You look at Dan Marino when he had Dwight Stevenson. He went to the Super Bowl. He had his best years. Dwight Stevenson got cheap shotted by Marty Lyons. And then he went downhill and he went into a crater for a couple of years. And then Shula in the same draft got Webb and Sims. And all of a sudden Marino made that rebirth. And that's Dan Marino.
That left tackle was big back then.
Yeah, your offensive line is critical, man. I can't express it. If you watch the film, you'll understand. The Tua was forced. McDaniel was forced to have a quick throw offense and throw these pocket posts because they can't get away with anything else because the offensive line's not capable. And if you start, it doesn't mean that Tua's the guy. It doesn't mean he's great or he'll win a Super Bowl. But why would you, even if you get rid of Tua, and you get a new quarterback in here, why would you put them behind that offensive line? Do you think they're going to have success? No. Look at Mahomes.
They're going to make Tua look good is what they're going to do, and they're going to make the Dolphins look bad.
Right. Well, that's the whole point.
We think the grass is greener on the other side. We have a top 10, top 12. If you don't like Tua and you want to be objective, he's a top 12 starter. He can be a top 5 starter within certain games. He can flash that, and he can flash 20, top 20. But he is a top echelon, top 10, top 12 starter. And if you don't think you can win with that, then you're not building your team right. Period.
I don't know. I don't know if he's top. I know the kid can play. To the top 10, top 12 thing for me would be is how does he go against good defenses in critical moments? But it's got to have some level of balance where he's put into situations where he can succeed. I think there's a limit because of his size and his arm and his movement skills to uplift the whole thing. He's more like a point guard. And where Dan Marino was like, Jordan. You know what I mean? And yeah. So Tua is more of like a point guard type guy, which is not, because that's what Breeze was.
He's a John Stockton. He's a John Stockton.
Breeze was the same way. And so I'm not saying he's Breeze, but Breeze always had good offensive line. Peyton always dedicated to the run game. He was very creative, and there was a lot of adjustments to the line of scrimmage.
A lot of audibles, a lot of adjustments.
So I just think that, it's easy for guys like, especially podcasters or media guys. You just say Tua, and you replace the quarterback, and Dan Marino on his team would not win a Super Bowl. He wouldn't. The same thing would have happened. I mean, he would have made some more plays or whatever. Maybe he would have got farther.
Yeah.
But you got to run the football. Okay, so you're going to go into a freezing cold game against Mahomes and you got no offensive line. You can't run the football. Now, maybe he would have won a game and it would have been home or whatever. But in the end, you got to have balance. You got to have balance. And this team doesn't have it. So he's going to get put out. I don't know if he's the guy, but I definitely know he needs an offensive line. Ace, an old school football fan. What are your thoughts on the Chris Mortensen, man? It was like my youth and stuff. I remember him like in my early 20s. It sucks. I'm so tired of seeing like everybody I know from that era is just dying. It's like all my heroes, all my memories. It's so sad. Shula going. I know Zonka's next. That's not you, Zonka. If Zonka's here, Zonka, it's like it sucks. Man, Ditka's gonna go soon. It sucks getting old. You watch all the good guys go, and honestly, there's not that many guys I like these days. It's just the caliber of everything I see is just degraded. The art, everything.
Curtis, I want to give you a shout out though, because we talked before this about building a fan base and getting viewership. And sadly, today, the way to get viewership is rage engagement, clickbait.
Yeah.
We know it all. But the real ones, the ones who follow football, who want the truth, who want to know why is this team failing, what's going on behind the scenes, and we don't want conjecture, we don't want rumors. Your channel is one of the ones that I watch and go, I'm going to get the facts. I'm not going to get any clickbait. So whether you blow up or not, Curtis, we appreciate what you're doing. The real ones appreciate what you're doing. So keep it going.
Thank you, brother. I was showing you before, man. I went to school. I was going to be a journalist. This is like the Bible of journalism. I read it all the time, the elements of journalism. And I was reading this to you before. For truth to prevail, journalists must make clear to whom they owe their loyalty first. And mine is to truth and to doing right by Dolphins fans, because I've been lied to so many times with the hopium. And then it says over here, it says, oh, yeah. The job of a journalist is to the truth as nearly as the truth may be ascertained. So the goal is like I heard, I'm not to get on him, but Barry saying like his goal is to have the most subs. And I like Barry for certain things. I totally disagree for that. I think that, journalism is an critical piece. You've got to be honest to people. You've got to carry this honorably. So that's what I want to do. I don't know if I'm ever going to become top notch here, but I believe in doing right by people, and I believe in the truth. I got lost in it. Let me see, where are we at? But thank you, I appreciate that. I got lost.
Your screen's frozen, Curtis, but I don't know if it's just mine.
No, am I still here, guys?
No, you're moving now.
All right, Gink. Yeah, I hope he doesn't follow, man. I hope he doesn't. I think so, though.
Yeah,
I think I'm frozen.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just the thought of Gink leaving. It hurts my heart, man. It hurts my heart. I love that guy.
I know, I do too. I really like him. Hey, Curtis, good to see you. How's your Finns? Go Bills. Hey, I'm gonna get back to doing Bills stuff. I'm gonna do multiple coverage. I gotta start.
You do that. You get on the Bills a lot. I see that. And for a while I was looking at your stuff going, is this guy's a Bills fan? Is this guy's a Dolphins fan?
I did random stuff like at different teams because I want to cover football. And the Bills fans were so nice to me. And they started they started showing up and like watching my videos. So I felt like obligated, but then I became intrigued. To me, football is a puzzle. Like I'm addicted to puzzles and like figuring things out. And every team is like this box, this mystery box, and you got to get into it and you open up and it's all this unknown stuff. And when you dig into other teams, you learn more about your team and the game of football. And then the Bills fans were so cool. Tommy from Mafia Sports Report contacted me. I was like, I got it. The more people that view my stuff, my sponsors stick with me. So I'm like, I'll keep doing the Bill stuff. I want to do more teams, but I almost died 2 years ago and I got tired and sick. So, but yeah, I love all football, man, because it's the only way to be happy. Because if it's all about my Dolphins winning, I'm going to be miserable pretty much every year. Hey, Yuki, my man Yuki, what's the story on the DC? He's got charisma. What do you think, Cody?
You know what? He's coming across as a sweet, nice, intellectual gentleman. That's not what I want. I want a dude that's going to fire everybody up. That Campanelli yelling at everybody, getting them fired up. That's what I want behind the scenes. And I think that's what Weaver is. I don't think we'd have brought him in. But I get a little concerned because I love Mike McDaniel, but I can see he's a different kind of coach. He's a player's coach. Everybody's having a great time. And I just hope Weaver's the kind of antidote to that, where Weaver's like, yep, let's have a great time, but we're going to get after it. I want to see Weaver yelling at the players on the sideline. He said he's not going to be up in the booth like Fangio with no emotion. I want to see Weaver down there ripping. And he's an ex-player, and he played for a team that their defense was solid, and they believed in getting after it. So he doesn't seem like a guy that's not going to get the job done, but I don't know. I'm telling you, I've been a Dolphins fan my whole life, so I get a little optimistic. So I will be honest that sometimes I look at it a little too rose-colored. But I think the guy, he's got a pedigree, and I think he's going to get after it. So I think he's going to be a good DC. Fangio couldn't connect. He wouldn't play Greer's guys. There was something, who knows what it was, but there was something that didn't connect. So if we can connect with Weaver, it's going to be an upgrade.
Oh, so I got lost over here on this thing. If I type, it puts me at the bottom. I'm trying to figure it out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, Fangio was fine. It's just Greer has issues with people. I think he's socially inept. His father over with the Patriots got into issues with Carroll because he wouldn't play his guys. So there's all kind of weird stuff in the background. So I don't know. I think you don't bring Fangio in here. and then like you're not certain what he's going to do. You should know that who he is, his personality, what guy's going to get. Like it's like to me, it's just really. There's a lot of stuff that happens here that makes no sense. Like no sense. Yeah. So you're going to get Fangio. Everybody knows who Fangio is. I mean, it's like they know his defense, and then you're going to be surprised. I don't know. To me, it's constant ridiculous. Hey, Chris, what's going on? The question. I like Chris. Chris and I always banter back and forth. What's up? Hey, yeah, I got that one. Okay. Yuki, Vic's defense wasn't fun to watch compared to. No, it wasn't. But
no,
this
Flores dialed it up.
But you got to remember something too. Everything in the NFL is a different animal. So remember, Flores had problems because he had to get those man coverage corner guys. And when one went down, there was all kind of problems to really get the pass coverage you needed. It was very difficult to find those corners that could play man. And so it was very aggressive. I love it. But it's hard to find those man coverage corners. But with Fangio, if you stuck with them, Kohu would have worked in it perfectly. You can find smart guys who can read and buy in and trust and play those zone coverages. You could fill that secondary much easier. And so everything is a yin and yang. There's no perfect anything. And so I think Fangio is great. I think what he did, people are like, he can't adapt. Do you know how much blitzing he did? He broke the sack record of the Dolphins. He adapted, but you cannot have Eli Apple miss Ramsey for half the year, Howard playing on one leg, Holland out for a bunch of time, linebackers can't really cover. I mean, you basically asked the guy. It'd be like if I came in and I said, Flores, I want you to play. I want you to coach this team. All I got is zone cover guys. What are you talking about?
Don't play any man and don't blitz.
You can't blitz like that. You can't blitz. It's like so. I mean, you can zone blitz, but it's not the same thing. So I don't know. He's gone, Angel. He's gone. Both Wilkins and him are gone. Gone. I don't see how. I don't know. Because you look at the numbers. We're at our cap right now. We're 20.4 million over. And that's
plus or minus?
Minus. So we got to add in Smith. That's another 5 million. Got to add in Bailey, the crazy kicking signing. I can't believe we even did that. That's another 2.5. And if you all guys, we're almost at 30 million right now. Negative. And then just to get to zero. I don't know about that. No, well, you know what? Okay, so maybe you're right, but here's the thing about this. If I give somebody a very complicated job and they've never done it before, how are they going to do? This defense, if you go back, people say, oh, he called a bad defense. I saw Ramsey make big mistakes. I saw Long make big mistakes. I saw people make swaps they shouldn't, not know who to cover. When you look at his principles of coverage, it's paramount that everybody does a job. Zone coverage is the most team-oriented defense because all it takes, I could show you at least a dozen times where Long stepped up too much. If he had just dropped an extra yard or two, the pass wouldn't have been completed. But he bit or drifted too slow to his zone. Every zone, you got 11 guys, 50 wide and 30 deep, and you got to cover that. It ends up being huge amounts of spaces. And all you need, how many times did you see linebackers like this? When you get two linebackers within 2 or 3 yards, someone totally screwed up. You've got to spread everything out. And with Cam Smith, there was red flags on him, his character, his work ethic in college. And so he was injured a lot too on top of that. Eli Apple at least was a vet who had seen it before and understood. He's not good. So I wouldn't say maybe. I mean, is Fangio want to suck? Does Fangio want to lose? It's just a very complicated system. But you brought Fangio in with this highly complicated system and said, we got to win now. And that it didn't make sense. It's like the same thing. We're going to go all in. We're going to take all this capital and go now. And we're going to go hire a coach who's never coached before. He's been in the booth and we're going to make him coach and call the offense. That's crazy. What's the success rate of that? You know what I mean? How hard it is for vet coaches to like win. And then you're going to bring a guy who's never, and then not give him an offensive line. He's a run coordinator and you don't give him the tools to run the football. And then you make him throw all the time. Like it doesn't, it's not set up for success.
They said it's a win now, but we need to go through some growing pains with our new coaches. And that didn't add up. And I saw plenty of times when Duke Riley went in, he couldn't pass a guy off. When we were playing that Baltimore game, who was that running back, that little running back for Baltimore? They're number 3. Is it Hill? They had a little running back who just kept eating up Duke. He's supposed to pass him off, and he never did. And it just kept a running back.
Oh, yeah. Because you know why? Because Duke, what happens is they create a pick. They run a short, shallow drop, like a short little curl, and then they put the guy in your face. And so when you're running across the field, the linebacker, he's got to go behind him, and he went in front of him, and it was an out and up on the running back. Yeah, but is
that Vic's fault? That's not Vic's fault.
No.
That's not Vic's fault.
Yeah. It's here. That scheme is one here, but you can find guys like that. It's so much easier to find guys to play Vic's scheme. If we had sat in this and marinated it through it, you'd have been a lot easier to fill it out than a man scheme. But it's hard, and it's not going to happen overnight, especially when Ramsey, your best guy, goes down. And then, Holland was down for 4 or 5 games. Yep. And then Howard was his usual injury.
Elliott was out.
Yeah. Yep.
Needham wasn't back. Brandon Jones was coming back. We were supposed to get healthier as the year went on, and it turned out to be the opposite.
Oh, hold on a second. Sharif, what's going on? Yes, Curtis, I sent you an email, jump on, talk. Yeah, you want to come on the show next week? Definitely, man. I'll get the email. Yeah, come on. Definitely. I love it. If I come on, we'll never finish talking because we'll start 19. Chubb was a terrible trade. It was a disastrous trade. It was a disaster because you had Van Ginkel. And I'm not saying that. You can go back, Finn's News on YouTube. You can type Van Ginkel, Finn's News. I did film study on him post 2020. And everything I said over there, breaking it down, and then all my 2021 reviews all said the same thing. I don't know how he screwed that one up. It was the most retarded trade ever. It felt good. It was like, oh, big, but like I knew. You can even check last in 2022 when Chubb got his contract. I said, it's all in 2022, 23 is our peak talent season, and we're crashing in 24. I mean, like I said that then. You know what I mean? Like, so people saying it now, but I said it then, but it was obvious. How did Greer not understand that? How did he not know Wilkins was coming due and Hunt? Something doesn't make sense. It's like someone smoking lots of hashish and then dipping themselves in acid and then drinking from the keg too much, or there's something else that I can't really figure out. I've been breaking down the Senior Bowl. Yeah, okay. So come on, dude, come on next week and we could talk. The draft and stuff. I guess I'm starting my studies. I've been doing light ones, but after. But it would be great. Come on, man. Come on next week. Sharif is coming on next week. Got no choice now. Let's see. Let me see. All right. Am I going on too long here? I'm having a great time. All right. I guess all right, guys. I guess we'll get out of here. I guess going on for a while. Cody, man, close us out here. Tell us what you want to talk about. What's the final?
You know what? Let's switch gears. Shout out to my wife, Tanya. Love her. Shout out to my daughter, Nora, and my son, Logan. I'd like to think they're all Dolphin fans, minus my wife. So, Curtis, appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much. I could talk Dolphins till I'm blue in the face. So whenever you want me on.
Come back next week with Sharif.
Yeah, shout out to Reason and Neil, some guys I listen to. One more, who's my other
Reason?
Guy?
Is that the Reason, the guy is the smart guy?
Reason, he's got his own podcast, Finside the NFL.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him. He's
I just appreciate what he does. A little harsh sometimes, a little harsh, but he believes in who he believes in, and he does the work. And he's like you. Yeah. He's going to tell you what he really thinks.
No, he's smart. I don't always agree with him, but he's smart. And he knows all that like social media stuff.
Link up with. I told him to let
that guy ever sleeps.
I said, he said, let's vote and have people on. I wasn't on Twitter, so I just commented on his show. I said, let Curtis on, man. The guy knows what he's talking about.
He probably don't even know who I am. I'm small time, dude.
No, I appreciate it, man. I really do. So I'd love to come back on anytime. Fins up.
Without a doubt. Guys, I appreciate everything you do. You come on here and talk to me and all that stuff. Me and Cody, I appreciate it. I love this so much. You guys have great stuff. I go back and read the comments on the lives afterwards because I can't get to them all. And there's so many good ones. I'm sorry if I missed a bunch of good comments. I'm going down. I missed a bunch of good ones. I'll see if I can find some and maybe get to them in my podcast or whatever. But guys, you're the best. I appreciate it. Can't wait to keep talking football with you. Dolphin football, any football. Have a good night, Cody. Thanks again, brother. And
Thanks,
say hi to your family from me. They got a great husband, great father, man.
Yes, sir.